Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed the last episode. This episode today we're going to be doing the exact same thing, but this time we're touching on J-League and K-League goalkeepers that are off season that you can try and capture a little bit cheaper. As we all know, and we spoke about in the last video, goalkeepers can be pricey, so when you can get them out of season, it just makes them a little bit easier to actually acquire, and then obviously you need to sit on them, wait for the season to kick back in. But the J-League and the K-League is full of a lot of choice. We're going to be talking about some great options. Like the video before you watch any more of this. I'm watching you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. And let's get stuck into it. Now guys, before we get stuck into this, I did this at the end of the MLS one, I'm going to do it at the beginning of the J-League one, okay? I've only got two J-League goalkeepers, okay? Tanny and Mungun here. Mungun was a wee tip I got from Roscoe at top of the index. And the reason I'm showing you this is this region isn't one that I put a lot of time, effort and resources into. But I do think it's important that you do have your fingers as many little pies as possible, okay? The reason for that is Tanny has been very valuable to me, but he's been mainly valuable in an under-23 lineup. Yeah, I've won some Asian stuff with him, of course, you know, and that's kind of why I've went out and got a second goalkeeper so that I can release Tanny for my under-23s. But sometimes these rural regions, the Americas and the Asian ones in particular, can strike you gold in the global lineups, whether it be global all-star or global under-23, and these guys can be really good differential cards, you know. So you might only need one out of this list, you might have 5 of them already, or you might have none of them, whatever. But regardless of your preferences, or you know, in terms of where you shop or whatever, I think you would be naive not to consider at least dipping your toe in the water of some of these other leagues, because you can get some bargains and they can pay off big time in those, you know, global competitions that we have. Now the first guy ticks that box big time. Jakub Slovic. Jakub Slovic, right? Polish goalkeeper, plays for Galatasaray. The price he's at the moment, so the best price on the market now, 325, is not cheap certainly. But when you see the guy's scores, you'll see why. You know, he's very, very good at getting those upper 60s and 70s. He plays a fair amount. He's primarily in his career been around the Polish leagues and that kind of thing. But the reason I really like this guy is, number one, that he's European. I do like that, I'm not going to lie. And his age, I think from memory he's like 26 or something. 29, I beg your pardon. So he's in that kind of prime region for a goalkeeper age-wise. The auction prices you're able to get the guy for is what really appeals to me. You know, getting him at 0.2 or below. The Galatasaray last year were like bottom 4-ish in the league, so not a top team, which is why I'm impressed by some of the scores he can get here, because the goals they can concede, that team, or most teams in these kind of rural leagues, they can concede 2, 3, 4 goals in a match, and those are typically the ones where you're going to find these really low scores. But when he is able to keep a clean sheet or limit the game to 1 goal or whatever, you can see he's got solid 40s in there, and he's got the potential to go and get those big scores even without the clean sheets. Sometimes it's better to have a goalkeeper that's in the lower half of the league because you're expecting them to be active, but you're running that kind of that gauntlet of how many goals they concede and the negative impact that has on their score, you know. But guys that will be facing a lot of shots and getting their hands on the ball a lot are definitely worth considering, because they're going to score more points. Now, you might look at this guy and think, Quinny, he's not cheap. I'm not saying any of these guys are cheap, but what I'm saying is they're bang for buck, okay? So, Yuya Oke is an under-23 qualified goalkeeper. You can see the kind of prices going for an auction over the last month, being off-season, about quarter coin to a third coin. There's not really been one in the last 3 days since Ether's popped up, so we'll see how that pans out. But the reason I really like this guy is Kashiwa Antlers, you know, when they first came onto the platform, they weren't doing too good, but they finished off the season really strong, and I would expect them to do pretty well again next year. But for the age the guy's at, as you can see, even with all the Japanese rotation that we're dying on our feet with in terms of trying to pick a lineup in some game weeks, this guy's not suffered from that. And being so young, you're going to get a lot of miles out of him. He's really a Tanny Mark II for me. So again, if you get the opportunity to pick this guy up, I think he can be very useful, not just in the J-League or the Asian lineups, but your under-23s as well. Kim Jin Hyun. I think I got that well. So this guy, again, very similar to Yuya Oke. Despite the J-League rotation killing a lot of positions, including goalkeepers for me and for you guys as well, this guy did not suffer from that at all. And you know, how many scores has he got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 under the orange mark. You know, 6 red scores over, you know, game week 7 to 8 to game week 124. So a really solid, you know, performer. He's not going to pull up trees and score hundreds or anything like that, of course. But again, look at the price that you can try and grab this guy for at the moment. Even the super rare price on auction, 273. If you can get a super rare of him, then that could be very valuable to you. Obviously, the age he's at the moment 33, you're not going to have too much more life in him in terms of seasons. You would expect to get this season coming out of him, and probably the season after that, in some capacity, whether it be a transfer to a different team or whatever. But the thing with goalkeepers, as we all know, is age isn't as big of a factor. If anything, that late 20s to mid 30s is prime for them. And you can see the scores the guys had has been very credible. Cesaro Osaka, again from memory, off the top of my head, I think they were kind of mid-half, lower half club. So again, when you're facing lots of shots, you're getting your hands on the ball a lot. As long as you can keep the score down, these goalkeepers can score you very high, and this guy could be very valuable to you in a champion, global all-stars, like a D4 lineup or something, because goalkeepers are expensive. You can pick this guy up for 146, say, and then when the J League comes back in, you could have a global all-star lineup with this guy in goals and just tickle on the ether with some basic signings like this that you could get at nominal prices. How Yang been? Oh, there's no how there. How you been? So this is the only entrant we've got from the K-League. I was feeling a bit bad that there wasn't an inclusion, so I had to go and or Slovak. No, Slovak is no, he's J-League as well. So I wanted to get a K-League nomination in this as well, and this guy just stood out big time for the prices. Again, he's going for an auction. Even the secondary market is pretty attractive for him. At the age of 29, FC SoRare, a top end team in the K-League. And his scores, when he's playing, can be very good as well. These DNPs, as best I can tell, down to some lousy rotation. The guy played Asian Champions League for them after getting a red card domestically. So that tells me the guy is favoured. And, when you look at FC Seoul's record last year, yeah, they conceded a lot of goals. They didn't do too well. But typically they are a club that you expect to be further up the league. They've got some big players on SoRare in terms of scoring output. So I'd expect him to have a good season next year. And with the gamble on this guy being the number one for the price he's at, again, quite similar to some of the other videos we've been speaking about this stuff. The price you're at, worst case scenario, you're left with a training goalkeeper. Best case scenario, you've got somebody who's got the ability to play for what should be a top end team and get decent scores on the board for you. Like I said at the top of the video, guys, for me, the Asian region is a region I want to have a presence in, I want to have good cards out of, and I want to be competitive in. But for me personally, it's not one that I'm going to go and acquire, like you'll see in the MLS videos, 6 goalkeepers for. I'm going to pick up maybe another 1 on top of what I've got here. Might be someday from today's video. Who knows? I'm recording this well ahead of time, so you can go check my gallery out if you want. But in any case, guys, no matter what your strategy is, if you're going all in on Asian because they're out of season, you're getting them rock bottom cheap, brilliant. And if you're in that kind of middle ground of, I don't really know enough about it, hopefully some of the content I've got out here for you can help you find, well, do you know what, well, that looks good, and I'll pick that guy up for 50 quid or whatever. Like, subscribe, share, retweet, all that good stuff, guys. Stay out of trouble, and I will see you on the next one. Take care. Bye bye.